All right, y'all. So I wanted to make my video today on whether you should grab one DGX Spark or go for a Quad 3090 build. I have both of these and I've been using them for about a month, going on 2 months now at this point, and I have came to a conclusion on my overall thought process. And I'll give you the final verdict at the end because there's a lot of different trails and ways you can go about this, right? So, with that said, these both roughly kind of cost around the same thing right now. One DGX Spark is going for 4.6, but then you can go for the 1 TB version from Asus for almost like 4,000. I highly recommend, though, if you can, try to get that 4 TB one over the 1 TB. I have two 4 TB and two 1 TB, and the 4 TB is definitely worth it in the long run. Okay. But with that said, you can get you a Quad 3090 build. Usually you can get yourself a 3090 in that $1,000 to $1,200 price range used over on eBay. That's how I bought mine, right? I had one and then I bought three more for around like 3,500 in total. I also already had a previous motherboard as well. But if you were to start from the ground up, going Gen 4, not Gen 5, because Gen 5 is going to cost you even more, you could probably get in around this price point. You know, very close to it if you maneuver the right way. CPU, GPU, cooler, it's a lot. But majority of us may already have PCs, so making that switch could be easy. Luckily for me, my PC or motherboard already had 3 slots, and I changed my SSD into a 4th slot, and that's how we had the Quad 3090 build. So, you know, it's a lot of tinkering, but it can be done around the same price point. Now, this is the determining factor, right? Tokens are everything in my humble opinion, and speed per token is definitely important as well. And if you're somebody that is needing something super fast, then the 3090 is going to get the job done compared to a DGX Spark. Now, the DGX Spark has been optimized like crazy and is continuing to be optimized to where some of the speeds are on par and very similar. I wouldn't say too close, but you are definitely getting workable, highly workable speeds on one DGX Spark compared to the 3090. But this right here, just to show you, you know, we got 35B running on my Quad 3090s, and this is only running off of 2 GPUs, by the way. But you can see running 6 parallel, we're hitting 100 tokens per second. And if we go to 1 token per second, you're hitting 150 tokens per second on 135B on 2 3090s. Now I have Quad. The other two are running 27B, a even better. We're waiting on that Qwen 3.8, man, but phenomenal. We can hit around 90 tokens per second. I'm going to be grabbing an NVLink soon to even see if I can push this up even further. But as you can see, you can easily hit 90 on this model, which is fabulous. And on 6 parallel agents of this, you're hitting 40, 50, 60. I'm seeing some 60s down here. You're hitting a very high number once again that is very workable, and multiple sub agents or multiple employees can work on this. Now, with 4 3090s, you are going to get, just putting it out there so you guys can see. I want you to see the numbers yourself, right? 4 3090s, you're going to get 96 gigabytes of VRAM, right? With the DGX Spark, you're going to get 128 GPU unified RAM, unified memory, right? And so you have a little bit more to go, which is going to give you more context or more concurrency, however you see fit. But for the most part, you know, you're going to be kind of running pretty much the same models at this rate. You know, you got 32 extra gigabytes on top of the 3090 at this point. So you could fit another model in here. You could run 2 separate instances of 35B and then one 27B, or 2 instances of 27B and one of 30. You could definitely play around with it. You definitely have the option of running more models on this with that 32, gigabytes of RAM difference. But for the most part right now, there are some people also running like DeepSeek V4 Pro or V4 Flash on one DGX Spark. It's just very slow. But for the most part, in my humble opinion, what I'm going to just say is you're running pretty much the same models on the two, okay? There's probably some tinkering, but if you have one DGX Spark, the models I'm going to tell you to run are 35B, 27B. If you want to run Nematron, Omni, there's some this new NVIDIA, the Towers model. There's a couple of models out there, but for the most part, Qwen 3.6, 27B, 35B are your best models that you can run, okay? Now, this right here is the deciding factor. If you ever plan to scale more and scale out, that is where the DGX Spark, in my opinion, is going to win. That's where I'm going to tell you, okay, this is the right route to go. Because the moment you grab another one of these DGX Sparks, you are now exposing yourself to, multiple new models now. Mimo V2.5, the new H3Y high, whatever, however you pronounce it, DeepSeek V4 Flash, 60 tokens per second. We got Minimax M3 running now on 2 DGX Sparks. I feel like I'm missing another one. You can run more concurrency on the Qwen's models. Minimax M2.7 if you still want to, but you can run M3, so why not? And there's a ton of other fine-tuned models as well that are like in those bigger parameters. But for the most part, DeepSeek is what you can get, and DeepSeek, in my opinion, is probably the best bang for the buck right now on 2 Sparks. Minimax M3 is great as well. It has vision and it has speeds up to 35 tokens per second. Smaller context, where DeepSeek, you can run the full 1 million. So scaling is the deciding factor if you want to scale. Now, you may say you could scale on a 39, you could, but you would have to go and then reinvest as well additional whole nother CPU at this point, and you're now probably going to be spending more than what you would have been spending off of 2 DGX Sparks. And what I mean by that is if you want to take those quads and do anything more, I can't add no more on the motherboard. I would either get a new motherboard, and at that point, I would need to get what is called a Threadripper motherboard, right? And this is the cheaper one. I need to find like the real one. I believe this is one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the one that you'll have to go and grab if you want to scale out. You have 7 slots. I believe there's all 16 lanes. You probably can find this somewhere else as well, but this is what they're usually going for. On eBay, $2,500. Like I said, this is the less slot version, 4 slots on that, but you want this one. Okay, hold on. This might be it right here as well. So $1,000. Let's just say that it's $1,000. Let's just say it's $1,000. It'd be cheap, right? So you're gonna spend $1,000 on that. You're gonna have to get what is this? Isn't this like 2 CPUs or something like that? So you're gonna have to get one of these. CPU at 24 core, 2,000 for this. You're gonna have to get RAM as well, because you're gonna have to get the new, Gen 5 RAM. So my point is, right here off the rip, you're already at $3,000. Then RAM is crazy. So right here, if you want, that's a 700. So you're going to have to spend a lot more money to do that scaling up. And we're just talking about off the rip, off the top of the dome, 3, 4. Let's eliminate that. Let's just be cheap as possible. 3, and then the 700 for the RAM. That's close. Let's just call that 4. And then we got to talk about coolers and all that as well. Like we got to get, you got to get your fans and all that. So you're looking at, if you want to scale out, you have to spend at least around $4,000 to $5,000 just to get the platform. Now you got the platform done for the $5,000, right? You put your 43090s in there. Okay, well, we need to now scale out. We need to get more 3090s or RTX 6000, whatever you want to do. But you got to spend $5,000 just to get to the point where you can scale out. So $5,000 plus another whatever. Where at that point, the $5,000 that went into this could have got you a second D Spark. And then the next $5,000 you got to spend on new GPUs could have went to a 3rd Spark at this point. So the part here is buying something and then scaling from it, right? You don't buy the dual 3090s planning to scale out from that because it's stupid. If the idea is what to buy between the two, I'm going to say go with the DGX Spark. Now, if you are to say, I want to start a whole new build, versus a DGX Spark, then that's when I'm going to ask you what is the long-term goal there. Because you could then potentially, if you have the $10,000, 12, it's just crazy at this point. I can't even do the math here, because $12,000 will get you an RTX 6000. But even then, like, the difference of the two is just crazy, man. The math ain't mathing. So in my humble opinion, if the answer is you're going to stick with one X Spark and you're going to stick with one 3090 and you're done, you don't want to do anything ever again in your life, go with the dual 3090. You'll be good to go. But if you plan on scaling out and adding on to and building onto something and building out a whole entire infrastructure, go with the DGX Spark, because then you'll be able to continue to scale from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9. My switch right here, I think I can do 16 DGX Sparks if I ever wanted to do it. Whereas with this, it's going to cost you a lot to begin to scale out. Alone, like I said, just to get the foundation, you're going to have to spend $5,000 and then buy your Sparks for $4,000 to $9,000 at this point. $9,000 to build the Quad RTX this way. Now for me, luckily, I had a old motherboard that had 3 GPU slots on it, not 16 lanes. One of the lanes of slots, I moved my SSD card, put something in there that allowed me to have a 4th slot. I'm running 2 8 lanes and 2 4 lanes. Sounds crazy. The speeds are fine for me. I'm happy with these speeds for the for the consumer grade motherboard I got. And this gets the job done and handles a lot of the work for the work that I'm doing currently. If I want to scale, that's where I go to the Sparks, GLM 5.2. We're running that currently. I told y'all about that. This is what we're looking at right here for a single stream. I'm not mad at that. I am not mad at 35 tokens per second, 30 tokens per second for GLM on Quad Sparks. Let's run it at 2. I'm not mad at that. Sub agent running close to 25 to 30 tokens per second. Let's bump it up to 4. They about to say, now we hitting them 15, getting a little bit slower, you know what I'm saying? A little bit slower, but I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. 20 tokens per second for 4. I'm not mad at that. So yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions on this down below in the comment section. You know, personally, the winner of the two for me is the Spark for the long run. For the short form, for the right now, I just want something that's gonna work and I don't care about AI, the Quad 3090s. But me personally, I'm going with the Spark for the long run. So 4 quads versus 1 DGX Spark, I'm picking that. Let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section.